Well, I finally got to see Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, and I've been waiting to see it for quite some time since I first saw or heard of it and some of the imagery coming from it. I didn't have the opportunity to see it in the theater because it just wasn't released around here. Damn it. And I really think Netflix needs to do that. They need to just posit yourself as a production studio, which you already are for quite a few things, and do a theatrical run. And then, of course, after that, the only availability of it would be on Netflix. You know, I still think you should pursue physical media too, but but at least that, and not this select theater business for a few weeks, you know. And I mean, especially like, yes, a movie like Frankenstein belongs in October, you know. But anyway, didn't get to see it till it debuted on Netflix in November. So watched it, and it delivers in so many ways. It's very well shot. It looks glorious, and all of that. So as a horror movie, there's horror in it, no doubt. Good Lord, there's even gruesome stuff. Oh my God. But it's really a tragedy. You know, it's a very sad story in that. But it's a lot of the elements of Frankenstein all the way back to Mary Shelley's novel, which this movie takes from quite a bit more than most. I mean, the most famous would be the Universal Boris Karloff Frankenstein, which is a great classic in and of itself. That one and Bride of Frankenstein and all that. And the themes are the same. I mean, you're meddling with things you shouldn't. You know, Victor Frankenstein is an arrogant man. You get some sympathies for him because his story is told. Half of the movie is his story. The second half is the monster story, and you see the two come together that way. But always, you know, the monster's the monster whom we all call Frankenstein, even though, of course, it's Victor Frankenstein is who it's about, and because he created the thing and all that. But the real monster was always Victor himself. Yeah. And the Hammer films with Peter Cushing really went balls to the wall with that, about just what a bastard that guy was. the monster is just sort of off to the side. But nevertheless, you get an origin story for Victor Frankenstein and why he gets there, and there's a lot of sympathies for it. He had a very, very harsh and strict father. Loved his mother probably too much, if you know. I mean, obsessively in a manner of speaking, and all of that, and then all the bad things about his father. You do see some good things, but you can see the problems it creates because the father has more of a love and appreciation for his little brother than him, and all of that. Because his little brother resembled him physically more than Victor did. So, but you know, but anyway, the negative aspects to his father comes out in him, especially in how he treats the monster. So he, you know, all this stuff, and he's judging his father and all that, but he doesn't learn any lessons from it, not really, despite how brilliant he is. It's the death of his mother that leads him on his goal, or whatever, his journey to, I'm going to defeat death. And this is the sort of thing that comes out of the Frankenstein story, of that you're meddling in God's backyard and you're not supposed to do that, and he does it anyway. And so, well, you're going to suffer some consequences, Victor, and oh boy does he. And yeah, even though there's moments of humanity from him, he falls in love with Elizabeth, even though you really shouldn't. But, well, you know, she's really cute and interesting, and she likes him and all that, you know. So there's that. There's also a moment where he can't quite go through with destroying the monster, and he changes his mind and tries to save him. That kind of thing. I'm not going to spoil all the details. Doesn't work out, but and so there's moments of it, but still, and then there's just absolute assholeness of him lying and stuff like that. Really, terrible what he does. So he's the monster. Now, some of the flaws in it, that even though there's groundwork there between his brother and his sister-in-law, especially for the brother in his final scenes, a bit on the nose for it, even though what he's saying is true. And there are realizations. It's there, but I think it's a little too brief about that he understands what Victor's about, even though he's very, very loyal to him, to a fault. And then Elizabeth and how her story turns out, I can understand it to some point, and there isn't there, but it seems it's a little too convenient, ultimately, of how she ends up where she is. And I can understand her compassion, but good Lord. So and all of it comes out of her when she realizes what Victor's all about. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe I was so into this guy, that she's risking her marriage, which is obviously probably something arranged or something like that. I mean, and I'm forgetting the brother's name. That's embarrassing. But he's, he loves her. He's all, poor guy, and all that. But so maybe, I guess I could chalk it to that. It's a small quibble. It doesn't derail the movie or anything like that. But I was like, I don't know. But for the most part, you're blown away by its theatrics and its structure. It's everything looks magnificent, and how they did it and all that stuff. The bookends of it, and the whole thing is told from the end of the story where they're out in the Arctic, on that ship and everything and all that. And that's, right out of Mary Shelley and all that. And that whole thing is just great. And just the humiliation and the humbling of Dr. Frankenstein, it's all there. And so it's like, yeah, I can believe him. He really has learned his lesson. A lot of good it does him now, but maybe his soul is saved. I don't know. But it's an interesting thing, and like the captain of the ship is the witness and whatnot. And it rounds out really, really good. So probably easily one of the best movies of the year. The horror movies have the only ones who really showed up and outclassed just about everything this year. And I still think Weapons has the edge overall. If award shows mattered, which to me they don't, so the Academy Awards, and probably what they'll do is some special effects thing or something like that. Maybe these movies will get that. But as for really the horror movies is the only game in town, certainly this year. They're the only ones that showed initiative and trying, and that sort of thing. And certainly that's all over the place with Weapons. Frankenstein, of course, classic story and all that. And there's already another one. I think Christian Bale's playing the monster, and stuff like that. But for this iteration, this one's on the list of best interpretations of Frankenstein. And as far as being, it is one of the best. I don't know that it is the best. I think Weapons probably holds the edge on that for the genre and what have you. But still, really cool. Great film. So check it out. I do recommend Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.